it's always hard processing a loss. Nobody prepares to lose. You know, as fighters, we want to do our best, but ultimately we want to get the victory at all costs. You know, it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself. I want to go back to the drawing board and work and learn, gain experience, and experience was gained. So no doubt, November 15th, you get a better version.
What a crazy, crazy world we live in today. For my entire life as a professional fighter, I have been the villain and the bad guy. 14 years and 38 fights of people loving to hate me. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, but from what I'm seeing online nowadays and the interactions I'm having with people all over the world in the streets, I don't know if I'm that guy anymore.
Eubank Jr. Benn 2 is on. Let's talk about unfinished business. In the sport of boxing, rivalries are important, and oftentimes rematch to rivalries can be equally entertaining. And such will be the case when Chris Eubank Jr. takes on Conor Benn in a second fight this year to continue the legacy of adversarial challenge that their fathers started years ago. The first fight was something of a spectacle for a number of reasons. The egg slap at the press conference, the accusations of positive drug tests with Conor Benn, and the estranged relationship that Eubank Jr. experienced with his dad, culminating with his dad finally showing up on the night of the event, leading to all types of drama and sent the UK fan base into a frenzy. Well, this rematch of a fight that could be originally called a high candidate for Fight of the Year, this rematch was not necessary, but again, continuing the legacies of their dads. The rivalry is a bit too intense, as you heard the opening soundbite of Conor Benn speaking of what he took away from the original meeting and what Chris Eubank Jr. has surmised to be accused of being the bad guy, the villain. So, which hat will each man wear going into the rematch November 15th remains to be seen. But one thing can be stated, that these two, when they return to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they will lay it on the line. Will Conor Benn show that he has learned from the first go-round? Will Chris Eubank Jr. come in healthier in his approach for having to make a weight that is not necessarily best suited for him? You see, during that first battle, the two of them fought a fiercely competitive fight. I mean, pride was on the line for Eubank Jr. because he was the bigger man going in, having been as high as super middleweight, and Conor Benn having been a fighter that campaigned at 147 but had moved up to super welterweight for a couple of fights. So this catch weight was going to see them come in, and Conor opened the fight up with an all-out assault of aggression on Eubank. He stated going into the first fight that he wanted to leave him pretty much rendered helpless, as he stated. But Eubank was ready for that aggression, and he boxed wisely, allowing Conor to burn off the excessive energy, and it was a virtual back and forth between the two as they competed. Eubank was able to use his jab, and he was able to counter Conor, who had wild swings and didn't optimize the leverage of shots that were thrown and missed. So, as they got into the middle rounds, you could see it was a test of fortitude. There were moments when it looked like Conor might have shaken up Eubank, but he was so overly anxious to get in and follow up, primarily with headshots, he forgot to work the body, unless it never was in his mind or plan to do so. And so when Eubank Jr. decided, you know what, let's just go for it, he began to knuckle up, and including with foul shots and everything else in between, the two of them got down and dirty as they had known their dads to be many years earlier. Now, I see the rematch being something more of a chess match, because the two men, though they will compete with the blood of their dads, they have to fight with their heads this time around. And the significance of trying to win is not lost on Conor Benn, as he's going to enter this fight, like I said, being a little bit more calculating and looking to make certain that his shots are scoring and landing properly with better accuracy and precision. But one of the standout moments that we have to acknowledge is that Eubank Jr. has reached out to Brian Bomac McIntyre once again to bring him back for this rematch. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the ace in the hole that determines the winner. Brian Bomac McIntyre is a tremendous coach and trainer, and had Eubank Jr. very well prepared for his rematch against Liam Smith. But will it be enough for Conor Benn? I believe that the winner of this fight will be able to lay everything to rest, and the victory should be more decisive, as we saw that it was Eubank Jr. who came away with the win the first time with a unanimous decision. Benn is going to look for his revenge, but he's going to have to do it with a smarter game plan and fight from a perspective of he has to score the points and not just fight with rage. I'm not so certain he can do that, and so therefore that's what lets me think that at the end of the day, the way this fight's going to turn out, Conor Benn may be on the losing end again. But I expect it to be a very well-fought fight. These two men are carrying on a legacy of their dads, a lot of the personality of their dads, and that's what makes them the names that they are from where they come from, and that's the UK. Overall, at the end of the day, I'm picking Eubank with Brian Bomac McIntyre as the ace for him to push him over the top. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, the third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts were about this press conference, and are you looking forward to the fight? Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.